Hello everyone. In my previous video, we have discussed how we can calculate the second largest salary in SQL. That is one of the most important SQL interview questions. But what if we have the five duplicate salary in our table? So how we can deal with the duplicate data in SQL? So in this particular video, we will be learning how we can find the duplicates and delete those duplicates. We will be seeing the concepts very clearly before proceeding to the SQL query because it's very important to understand the concepts. In this video, I will be teaching you the concept of window function with the help of proper visual examples. Then the type of window function that we will be using in this particular video. Then also we will be discussing about the partition by and over that we use in window function. But before that, let's proceed step by step. Before proceeding further to the SQL query, it's very important to understand the concept. Let's say we have the three rows in our table. Name of the column is the employee name and the employee ID. Let's say employees are Alice and Bob and their employee ID is something like this. I intentionally put the entry of Bob two times here because Bob has the duplicate data in the table. And of course, we have to find that duplicate data and delete those data. So how we can achieve that? Let's say if I have a new column with the name row number. No need to worry. We will be learning about row number window function in the coming video. But what if I assign the value of row number something like this? It's very important to note here for each particular employee, row number is assigned 1. Because Alice is the unique employee of the table, so its value is 1. Then again, the next unique employee is Bob, so again its value is 1. But when we see the third entry from our SQL table, it's the same as the second entry. It's because it is the duplicate data. So row number incremented from 1 to 2. So here we taken these two records as one group. So how we can delete the duplicate data? We simply tell SQL to delete all the records that has value greater than 1 and then we will delete those. So this is the simple concept of using the row number window function for deleting the duplicate records. One more concept that is important to learn here before proceeding to the SQL query. It is of CTE in SQL. It is stand for Common Table Expression. In easy language, we can simply consider it as a virtual table or a temporary table. As the name suggests, how it will work in our use case, let's say we are defining a box and we are using some SQL query inside this particular box. So this box is termed as CTE and then we are telling SQL to delete all the content that is present inside this box. So this is the simple concept of CTE, that is the common table expression in SQL. So because these are temporary table, they will be remaining in the existence only till our SQL query is running and then they will be deleted from the virtual memory. So let's quickly jump into the SQL editor and see how to find and delete the duplicate using the CTE concept and the row number concept that we have discussed. So here I have defined the table user data with these four columns in it and then these are the rows that are inserted into this table. Let's try to run a select query on this table and see what are the records present here. So we have these records that are present. So it's important to note here we have defined one additional column ID and we set it values as auto increment and primary key. What is the need of defining this additional column? So in order to understand this, let's quickly jump to our notepad and see the previous example that we have already discussed. Let's say we have already defined Bob is the duplicate entry and we need to delete this record. But how SQL will know which entry for the Bob needed to be deleted? Because there is no primary key here. The name and the employee ID, both columns have the same value for the employee Bob. So in order to make the work easy for the SQL, we define a new column ID and we define the unique values to that particular column. So now on the basis of this unique column that we have defined that will act as a primary key, we can very easily delete this duplicate entry. So that is the use case of defining this ID column in this table user data. Now let's quickly jump to the SQL query and first we will be seeing the architecture, how the query will be working. So because we are using the concept of CTE here, so CTE always starts with the keyword with followed by the name of CTE. Let's name it duplicate CTE and then we will use the alias keyword followed by braces. And inside this braces, we have to write a query to create that new column row number. So how we will do this? We will simply type something like this. So we are done with the creation of common table expression here. Before proceeding further, let's try to understand these terms that we are using here. We are already defined what is row number. Now, what is over and partition by doing here in this query? Let's quickly jump back to our notepad and see this with the help of simple examples. Let's try to understand these three important terms before trying to understand the query. Here we have simply taken a simple data set with the column name, employee ID, and email. And let's continue with the first one, that is what is window function. Normally SQL collapses data, but window function ensures to keep all the rows of our table intact at the same time performing the SQL functions for each particular row. So it doesn't collapses our rows into the groups. Then second came the use of over. This is the magic word. It tells SQL, don't group these rows into one. Keep them separate, but look at them as a single set. Whereas the third one, that is the partition by, think of it as creating rooms for your data. For example, in our previous example, we partitioned the data using the employee ID and email. So SQL treated it something like this. The first partition is for Alice and the second partition is for Bob with the two entries. And of course, the employee ID and the email field for these two duplicate entries will be same. And on the basis of this partition by, we defined the fourth column, that is the row number. And because of the concept of partition by in window function, each time when we were jumping to the new employee, its value was getting reset to 1. For example, as Alice is a single unique employee, so row number value was 1. Then again the next unique employee is Bob. So again the value resetted to 1 because of this partition by that we are using in our SQL query. Then again it checks for third entry because it is a duplicate, so it will give it 2. Let's say we have the fourth employee in our table and with some employee ID and email. So this time the SQL will treat this fourth employee as the new unique employee and again it will assign the row number 1. So this row number assignment is possible only because of concept of partition by, because it is grouping the data but at the same time keeping all the rows intact and then assigning a new column with the values inside it. So this is how the window functions works along with the over and partition by keywords. And with the help of these, we have defined a new column, row number, with the help of which we are finding the duplicate rows. We have already defined this common table expression to find out the duplicate value. And now the simple task is to delete that data. So how we can achieve that? This is the complete query for finding the duplicates and deleting the duplicates. Let's run this and this query successfully got executed. And now if I run the select query, we got the unique records with after deleting all the duplicate entries. And that is how you handle the duplicates without accidentally wiping out your entire table. We use the window functions to label them and the common table expressions to organize the hit list. If this cleared up your SQL confusion, hit the subscribe button. It really helps a small channel like mine grow. Let me know in the comments which complex tech concept you want me to simplify next. I am Soumya and I will see you in the next one.